And we're back. Okay. So, as that day draws to an end, I pose a question to you as a group. By Elizabeth and the academics' estimations, it will probably be in order to reach the level of progress that they need to reach the expected output of this orrery to be able to scan or like the full planes and get this grand operation running. It is going to take at least another month of work. It doesn't necessarily require Elizabeth to be present for all of it, but she will need to sacrifice spell slots to charging the Atrine to do it efficiently. And obviously, the more days you spend doing that, the more power you'll have to play with to cast the spell at the end.
Yeah.
So my question to all of you is, do you want to roll on ahead to the first like key event within that month? Because obviously the your team of 2 will be arriving back supposedly within a couple of weeks. Do you want to skip ahead to that moment, or is there something that you particularly want to do or to state that you're doing over this time period? Because this is essentially going to be downtime that Elizabeth is working on the orrery on and off. What do you want to do with this time?
Grim has a project of his own.
Grim does have a project of his own.
He's making ballista.
Gonna make some ballista
time.
Just ballista's great.
Yep. I suppose if Elizabeth isn't needed all the time, is it possible in the off days to try and learn effective shield use?
Oh, so you wanna put some time into learning, getting proficiency in shields?
Yeah.
Okay.
If possible.
Let me see. What is the guideline for how long that takes? I had a thing on downtime. Where was it? There it is. Unearthed Arcana.
Isn't it in one of the books now?
It probably is, but it's quicker for me to look it up in the downtime UA than it is to find it in the book.
True.
What is your intelligence modifier?
+5.
Okay. So,
Because I do vaguely remember it saying like you might need someone to try and teach you.
yes.
But like
you have more than
Yeah.
ample people who can teach you that.
yeah, either
That's not what I'm
or she
concerned
can
about.
even- yeah.
Okay. Yeah, considering the circumstances that you are all in, I will say within the month period, you can gain proficiency in shields. I won't say it costs you anything because I doubt that Grim or any of the other members of the Amber Eagle are going to charge you for doing it, unless they tell me otherwise.
You go learn on your own time. You're not being paid enough. No.
I mean, even if you guys try to charge her, she's got a sister.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of people.
Yeah.
Also, we'd
Also-
be pretty awful if we were like, "Fuck you, pay us."
Yeah,
There's the only
well-
the only awkward bit is the working on the Orrery, because then somebody would have to come over to.
People in the college have standing, do they not?
Yes.
Yeah,
There you go.
But you'll lose out on charging time.
yes.
Yeah, a tiny bit.
I'm gonna say it's gonna take you a while to. You're gonna have to invest quite heavily into learning this skill if you're gonna be doing it.
Yeah, true. I'll have a think more.
Yeah, consider that for a while. Well, is there anything else the rest of you want to do in this time period? Is there anything you want to acquire or get to work on?
If anything, might want to see if I can't we had picked up some. Well, I assume we'll get sell the gems and stuff, but we had some genie-sized gear, like the armor and glaive.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to be able to use it, but perhaps we can get some money for it.
Hi, would you like to buy some genie-sized gear?
Yeah, what is anybody gonna do with it?
Well, honestly, for the amount of money that it's going to cost, it's going to be probably just a showpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a collector's item.
Yeah. So it is very much a relic. You are selling it as a relic to collectors.
Although, because because the armor specifically is believed to belong to this famous guy. Well, at least in Genie Society, famous guy.
Yes.
I mean, I kind of feel bad about selling, something that the genies might consider, a historical
Important.
artifact.
Do we want to be
Well-
Great Britain here?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we want to be Great Britain?
Well,
We
you
found
know,
it. It's our artifact.
What if we
Wait.
just hold on to it for now?
yeah, that's fair enough. We don't need. I guess we don't need the money. Although, we should probably keep an eye on our cash.
We just need
Yeah.
to find another dragon and deal this.
No.
We need another dragon horde. That's all.
That's
I
okay,
mean, I'm gonna spend the month basically just helping train, but also probably going to do actual mercenary work since I'm here physically
Yes.
for once.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. If you guys want to do just your average run-of-the-mill mercenary work, it's you can. You won't earn huge amounts of money. You'll earn enough money to sort of sustain yourselves within the keep and earn your upkeep. Because there isn't a whole lot to do in Ivywood Market because hey, having localized mercenaries means actually there's not a huge amount of work to get done. But yeah, also I'm going to say there isn't really any challenge to it either, because most things that would be a mercenary assignment to you guys currently is just kind of a pushover.
Yeah, fair. I mean, if there are odd jobs that require any of the skill set that I have, just in Ivywood Market, I'm also happy to.
Oh yeah,
do that.
definitely.
Oh, there's one important thing I believe also for Kelariis important.
What's up?
Well, during this phase, we're hoping to hear back from Fasira and Sedani.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
yeah,
that's-
I'm not going far. I'm staying in the area.
Yes.
It's so I can be here when,
Was we-
when
yeah,
they come back.
Well, we were going to check in on them in 10 days, was it? Or was the
You
week?
wanted to check in on them in 10 days. I was going to give them the period of time that they said that they would.
No,
take.
I said a week, and they said they needed 10 days. But I ended up going with the 10 that you said, right?
Yeah, something like that. I think they said like a
Well-
week and a half. Was what they said, and
Yeah.
I think we ended up
Yeah,
going with 10
well.
days because it was close enough.
We'll contact them when we think
Yeah.
they were ready, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Arya, is there anything you want to specifically do?
I don't know. I've been trying to think of something that would be interesting.
You can come do work with me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was leaning towards. Just
Yep.
like helping out. I
We
could
could be
hunt too.
bros.
I haven't like really properly hunted in forever, probably.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do some hunting.
You're gonna go out with Lyra, and some random ass
Hunting
like
job.
normal person hunter from Ivywood Market's gonna be out there and be like, "Holy shit!"
Oh my god! I imagine she probably goes a little further out than the normal hunters
Yeah.
would, but
Yeah.
No, but like, let's be real. There's gonna be one real brave or like real stupid hunter that goes really far out and just
Yeah.
like crosses paths with you.
Yeah.
just
Like
like
the shit scared out of them.
I can't even imagine a dire wolf hunting. Like it would be some crazy ass shit.
So yeah, you get a job, but you're not doing the mercenary work. You're just hunting.
Well, both probably.
Bit of both.
Just bit both, yeah. Spend a couple days hunting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Arya doesn't strike me as the kind of person who'd be who'd want to do much guard duty.
I mean, she might like. I mean, she's up half the night, literally. So.
Yep.
True. Well, there you go. She does a night shift of guarding and then straight out hunting.
Yeah, I imagine Arya just wanders off into the forest for a while, and some poor wild hunt rangers get like notified about like sightings of a direwolf out in the forest, and go to investigate, and just have this really awkward confrontation with you, where it's like, yeah, go about your business, citizen.
It's like, she's fine. She's with me. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would be really funny, actually. They're definitely like I feel like the people around Ivywood Market. I mean, they gotta know, right, about the direwolf. But
Yes, yeah, for sure.
if there was like people passing through or whatever, they'd be like, "Oh fuck."
Yep.
See, that just reminds me as well. Like, what if one time it's just Ilaran?
Ilaran.
Sup?
It's like there's a dire wolf and Ilaran shows up. Oh, it's just you.
I mean, I feel like if Ilaran
he'd probably
heard
know,
about a
right?
direwolf around Ivywood
Yeah,
Market,
true.
he would make the connection.
yeah, Wild Invaders would show up to like Silverbrook and go, "Oh, quick, have you heard? There's been a dire wolf sighted in your area." And there's like, "Yeah, it's probably just Arya. Don't worry about it."
Sorry.
Yeah. It's like,
I
was
mean-
there like a weird elf with the wolf? It's like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, honestly, also, like, if it was that close to us and there was a problem, I feel like we could sort out a direwolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like the idea of Arya walking into like town with Lyra just at her side, and people are just absolutely so confused.
I
For a wide
like to
berth, just
imagine
in
the
case.
first couple times she went to Ivywood Market with like with Lyra, everyone was just kind of like, ah!
Yeah.
Just a little bit of panic. And then they got used to it. Ish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ish.
Well,
Do you reckon that's a thing? Travelers like set up at a tavern and go like, "Be advised, if you see a direwolf walking around, as long as it's
It's
with
fine.
the elf, it's
you've been situated in Ivywood Market long enough that you're probably that your reputation is probably spreading.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
all of you in general.
Yeah. Well, like it's
Ironwood
not like,
Market. That's where the person with the direwolf lives.
but like even then, like we've also it's not. Yeah, we've also been active all
Yes.
over
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like people like know and recognize you at this point.
I mean, how many people do you reckon the people like pass through Hatcher's Cross and just hit and are like, "Oh, I'll go to Ivywood Market," and that's like, "Oh, I know we know people who are in Ivywood Market."
I mean, probably, yeah. Like, there's the you are quite wide ranging at this point. Like, you are beginning to like become known. Like, you have to go a fair distance from Ivywood Market to find people who don't know who you are or have at least not heard of the Amber Eagle.
Like, not every bunch of ragtag group of mercenaries gets sent, like,
Yeah.
a military escort from the elven
Yes.
group. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is fine.
Because people have heard your story, particularly if they live in Ardenstar and go to a particular tavern, in which case they've probably heard it at least twice every evening.
I can't believe we're boring the people in August.
Jayla was like, it'd be funny if the town's children like tried to like were super interested in the wolf, and I was like, imagine
Yeah.
them trying to come up and pet it, and Lyra's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Lyra gives you that pleading glance, like, help,
Like,
please.
Help.
And Arya's like, I'm leaving, goodbye.
Bye.
Lyra looks at Arya like, help, please, with the children, and Arya just gives the look back of like, I don't know how to help. I'm sorry.
There's no help.
We are trapped. Because Arya's not gonna leave. Arya's not gonna leave Lyra. So as long as Lyra's trapped, Arya's trapped.
I'm just like imagining like Arya just deliberately ignoring the crowd of children that is slowly gathering. Just like walks on for a little bit, turns back to look at Lyra, and Lyra's just carrying a child in her mouth, just like by the shirt collar. Like, no, put that down.
No.
Child probably having the time of their life.
You
like,
can't have that. Put it down.
I'm just imagining like it happening once. Arya writes a letter to Lefari, and Lefari sends over smoke bombs. Kids show up, you just poof. I'm gone.
Be gone.
There's an idea. Like, have you guys ever watched Spirit Stallion, that film with the horse?
No.
Yeah.
No?
What?
It's just
Yeah.
called Spirit.
Which
It's
film?
just
it's called
Spirit.
Spirit.
Yeah.
Oh, Spirit. Yeah.
Yeah, Spirit. I just imagine, you know that scene where Spirit first meets a child. There
Yeah,
was
that's
just that.
exactly it.
Oh yeah.
There was just that.
And it-
Just like brings her nose down to be like, "What's this?" Sniff, sniff, and then that child baby just grabs nose, just like. Ugh!
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much exactly what happens with the children if they get bold enough to go up to her.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Maybe this is just me projecting from when I was a child, but if I saw a really fucking big, what I basically thought was a dog, I'd be so hyped.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
fair. 'Cause
also-
I was the same way.
50% of kids will be shying away and going, "Oh, I don't like that," and other 50% will be going, "Help!"
But bear in mind that this is a universe where like stray and feral dogs are still a common occurrence. So
Yeah.
there would definitely be like more like child safety or surrounding. Don't just talk to strange
Don't
dogs.
talk to strange dogs. Don't approach strange dogs. Yeah, but also, kids. 50%
Yeah.
of kids will hear that and go, it's probably fine, and then
Yeah.
sit there and
It's
go,
fine.
I'm just-
I mean,
I'm-
they could be like me. Go up to a cat in your neighborhood that you think is fine, attempt to pet said cat, and then just get fucking shit-faced up because the cat is evil.
Yeah,
Oh
But
no!
it's fine. I still love cats.
all cats are evil.
Valid.
all cats are not evil. How dare you?
All cats are not evil.
No, they
I
are.
mean,
As a cat person, all cats are evil.
I mean, okay, fair.
I don't think that's true. My cat was
I
very
mean, there
sweet.
was a relatively nice cat I used to see on my walks home from work.
Okay,
that was
so-
just-
Maybe not all cats are evil. All cats are assholes.
yeah.
Well, I feel
Oh,
like
no,
there's
yeah,
a
I'll give you that
reason why people wrote the book, why your cat is plotting to kill you.
Yeah, cats are assholes. I'll give you that one.
Cats are just—they're not like
Like,
dogs, right? Like
my
like
cat will show
dogs
up
just
up-
love everyone unconditionally because
Yeah.
that's just the way we've made them. But cats are not like that.
Yeah. I think all the difference is we domesticated dogs and we just learnt to live with cats.
Yeah, you coexist with cats. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a saying that I very strongly believe in, which is the difference between dog mentality and cat mentality. Is a dog thinks these humans feed me, care for me, and play with me. They must be gods. The cat thinks they feed me, they care for me, and they play with me. I must be God.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Though I will say, my cat was so funny. She was definitely a one-person cat because every time, like, my mom would be like petting her or whatever downstairs, and I'd be upstairs, and then I'd walk to like the top of the stairs, and her breathing would like increase. And by the time I got to the bottom of the stairs, she was like off my mom, and like I wasn't touching her.
Yeah.
She thought I was gonna get jealous.
It's so good
Aw.
though.
She was a
So
sweetheart,
cute.
but
Yeah.
See, I quite like my cats because one of my cats seems to think that my room is that I think my room is off limits to him because sometimes I've left the house and come back and just about to step into my room, I just see him running out of it at full speed.
Yep.
It's like
That's
"Huh."
cats.
I was
Anyway.
like,
cats.
he was in there because he never comes in here when I'm in here.
So, you all have goals that you are attempting to achieve. Elizabeth, are you committing to the idea of learning the shield, or are you going to focus on getting this thing charged?
No, knowing how much effort it will take, let's focus on getting the thing charged.
Okay.
I'll just
Cool.
take the weekends off to chill at the keep.
Okay. That works. So, you arrange for a message to be sent to Tallithsyr 10 days after you agreed. At which point a message comes back that yes, their business is concluded and they will be heading back as soon as they can. And probably a little under 2 weeks after receiving that message, you I suppose I guess all four of you are there when I think did they take I don't think they took horses to Casport with them. I think they went on the carriage with the rest of them, didn't they? So probably walking up the road after having dismounted from a shared carriage ride, come Thalithsyr and Sidani. As they enter through the main gate of the Amber Eagle stronghold, let me just bring them to the token layer. They arrive through the main gate of the Amber Eagle stronghold, which, by the way, with another month passing, the majority of structures within the wall have now been are in the process of being having the final touches put on them, and the curtain wall is now rapidly approaching the point where it's almost as high as the first story of most of the buildings. So this thing is getting close to completion.
Nice. By final touches, do you mean final touches to the building itself, or do you mean they're bringing furniture in?
Final touches to the building itself. They're not quite at furniture stage yet.
Gonna have a party soon.
Soon, indeed. So as Sidani and Thalithsyr walk in, it is immediately obvious to you that there has been at least a degree of conflict during their mission, as Sidani is sporting a number of bandages. One most prominently taped around the top of her head, and a couple along her arms that look like they're probably still just there to sort of make sure it stays clean while they're on the road. Thalithsyr, on the other hand, is aside from a short top that she's wearing, is wearing no armor on her upper torso, presumably because of the fact that her entire left arm is in a sling, and she is covered from the waist up in various levels of bandages. She looks like she's definitely been through the wars. But they both seem in relatively good spirits. What are y'all doing?
I mean, if Elizabeth's there, and sees them straight away, she's immediately running over, sees the state they're in, and as soon as she gets there, she goes, "What? How? What happened to you guys? Gee, what?"
Sidani smiles and says, "Yes, we're fine for the moment. It's rather a long story."
Okay, I'll save on the. I'll hold back the questions then. As long as you're okay.
She just sort of pats you on the shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, like, Kelariis doesn't run over, but
Yeah.
she does, like, walk. A very, like, obvious beeline from wherever
Yeah.
she was.
Briskly.
Nothing will get between you and.
There's like a moment where Tallithsyr is like almost like deliberately like not focusing her gaze on you before she like looks up at you, like smiles and like waves with the right hand.
Oh.
Baby.
I
Not
love
baby.
her so much.
We
Not
do
baby,
love
but
Tallithsyr at this house.
not actually baby, but also baby.
No, Call's baby. Out of everybody that
Cal
we've picked
is
up along the
baby.
way.
True.
Yeah,
but I don't
all of
know
our
Cal.
strays.
I don't know Cal as well as you two, so I can't.
That's true. Cal is
He's-
very sweet.
He's not baby to me yet.
Cal's a
Tallithsyr is still
sweetheart.
the baby.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Kelariis walks up and just, I think it's definitely like a look of concern, not like anything else. But doesn't necessarily say anything right away. I guess it's
Yeah.
like waiting to see if Tallithsyr says something first.
I think there is a pause and just like sort of a sheepish grin from Tallithsyr, and Sidani like turns, sees the two of you, like gestures a thumb towards Tallithsyr and says, "It's torn, not broken."
Oh well.
I mean, I have questions about what happened, but most importantly, I'm glad both of you made it back all right.
And glad both of you seem. Well. Pretty happy. I don't know what word to use exactly, but
Glad to be back
positive.
rather than happy, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You look positive.
I think Tallithsyr may have mentioned it, but yeah, we had a little complication that.
Yeah. Well, further talk of that can wait till we have a proper debrief. Grim's probably around somewhere.
Oh,
He's like
Like
literally
the-
like a couple of steps behind you.
yes.
Yeah, at which point she probably turns around and goes, "Oh, wait, yeah, there he is."
Look, let's all head upstairs. I assume you guys want to join in as well.
Yeah.
Do either of you want and just like, I guess I kind of reach towards like bandages and arms and stuff. I am offering healing because I can do that.
I think like Tallithsyr like opens her mouth. Is like, no, it's fine. And then there's an exchange where like she looks across to Sidani for a moment, and Sidani just sort of like looks back at her, shrugs, and then looks at you, Kelariis, and there's definitely a sort of she should probably have some, but she won't admit it.
Amazing.
Gonna have to pull a sneaky.
I mean, it's Tallithsyr is the least likely to argue with me doing that, if anything. To be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll put a hand on each of their shoulders. I think is what I'll do.
Okay.
And I'll just heal both of them. I don't. If you want me to expend spell slots, I'll do it. Otherwise, like lay on hands. Whatever you want me to.
Yeah. It's I don't foresee you getting into combat, so I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay.
But yes, you lay on hands with the two of them. For Sidani, not a lot changes. Like it's her wounds seem like fairly minor for the most part. Tallithsyr, like there is like almost like a visible relief on her face as the magic courses through her, and she definitely looks like a little less like beleaguered in the way that she moves.
Yeah.
yeah, it looks like she was in quite a degree of discomfort. Which, yeah, torn ligaments, not fun.
Ugh, yeah.
Which,
Ugh.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I just lean to her and quietly just say, you don't have to bear it just to prove that you're tough. We know that no matter what. Or actually, I think she says, I know that no matter what.
Tallithsyr nods and just sort of says, yeah, it's fine. Thank you.
Of course. Do either of you need food before Grim starts drilling you with questions?
Yeah, do you want to, like, get the stuff over with, or do you want to have a little rest first?
I mean, we've had trail rations on the road, but something warm wouldn't go amiss.
You guys are going too soft.
Everybody wants
But
tea.
you know what? Let's have some food.
Tea solves every problem.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
Yep, everyone nods in
This is a
agreement.
fact.
Let's have some tea.
Everyone like that.
Do we actually have tea in this world?
Of course.
Nice.
Why wouldn't you?
Of course we have tea. We have plants.
I mean,
I want
yeah,
I want
like,
some tea.
people have been brewing tea from literally anything they can get their hands on for hundreds of years.
True. I want some tea.
Even though sometimes it'll kill you.
That's true.
Damn, will it taste good.
Let's
Yeah,
not forget
it's like,
that-
I'm gonna die, but it'll taste good while I do.
Hey, let's not forget the excellent way tea was discovered. The man was just boiling some water so he could drink it safely, and then a leaf fell in the water, and boom, tea.
I'm sure that's exactly how it happened, and it was definitely not curious people going, I wonder what happens if.
Do you think this? Somebody just looked. I don't know why, but I was just like, Jim, do you think this leaf will kill me if I boil it in water?
Yep.
To be fair, someone had to do that for most things.
I mean, let us
Like,
not forget
there's a man
that
crouching under a
cinnamon...
cow. There's a man crouching under a cow, just going, Does anyone think that this white stuff will kill me?
And I feel like milk is a fairly safe thing, seeing as we ourselves produce it. It's a
No.
fairly safe assumption.
I know, but
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
"Do you
it is
even have
pretty
this
weird
other
that we,
animal's
like-
milk?"
Yeah, like it's still a little bit weird that we were like, what if I milked this other animal and then drank it?
Somebody was gonna do it eventually, though. Let's be real.
Fucking
Well, let's be honest,
Markiplier
the first person
PNG.
probably didn't bother
Also-
milking.
Also, mankind going, "Do you reckon if
Minnie!
I?"
What did Minnie say? Wait, I missed it.
I said the first person probably didn't bother milking.
Oh,
Oh,
God!
Minnie.
I have seen and touched cows' udders, and they are not clean.
They are not.
But no, there's the Also, let's not forget, what happens if I take this long, yellowish grass-like thing, grind it into a white powder, mix it with water, and then heat it up?
Yep. I mean, yeah, like I was going to say, let us not forget, cinnamon, literally tree bark.
Yeah, that's true.
Love that crunch.
And cinnamon is great.
Yep. Somebody out there is just licking trees.
Maple syrup.
You say
Maple
that like
syrup?
somebody's not still doing that, probably.
Although
Someone
that
is
said, like,
definitely still
man,
doing
like-
that.
if you've ever just smelt the trees, they smell good.
It's true that
Cinnamon
they do.
trees? Cinnamon.
Has-
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Yes.
And also,
They
also
smell pretty
of course-
good.
Anyway,
Also, of course, maple syrup, tree sap.
yes. So you gather together, Sidani and Tallithsyr eat a small handful of food each, drink some tea, and
Delicious.
you head to the war room for a debrief. The two of them sort of sit down and, like, Sidani like looks at Tallithsyr, then looks at the rest of you and just sort of says, so,
Well, why not just start with the series of events, and we can always ask questions.
well, I guess to start at the beginning, we travelled for the better part of 2 weeks to get to the location we were headed to. As we basically arrived at the foot of the mountains where the fortress is supposed to be, we set up a sort of a scouting routine. We took it in turns to look around the place, chart the ideas out, and just generally see what was around. We learned from some locals that the rough supposed battle site of this this conflict was a place called Brittleblade Pass, or at least I understand that's the common translation of it. It's essentially a thin canyon of slate rock between the two major mountains that is essentially really the only passable path between this fortress and the rest of the kingdom. As we wandered up, we discovered that essentially on the lunarless side of the mountain pass, there's a small village called, and forgive my pronunciation here, but Nyxes? To which point Tallithsyr corrects in Draconic with it's Nyxes. Which Kelariis, to you, is of particular interest. Nyxes is it's a small flowering herb that grows in rocky regions, presumably named after the plant. But it's a herb that is used to flavor green curry.
Nice.
Which is just
Nice.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's the good shit.
It's not as good as red curry, but it's still good.
I like a green curry. Although
I actually really like yellow
Yeah.
curry, and like golden
Oh,
curry, but that's like
Honestly, there's no bad curry.
fair.
That's also
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I've only had a green curry, but that's probably a good thing because my spice tolerance is non-existent.
Yeah,
But
see,
yes,
I love spicy food, so.
the metaphor of naming a mountain town after a small flowering herb that grows in rocky regions is not lost on you. At which point, like, Sidani sort of continues her discussion. So says, yeah, that. It basically was little more than a small hamlet consisting of goat herders and weavers. We were hardly expecting to find anything that high up the mountain, but apparently, well, the Dragonborn people are certainly industrious, let's put it that way. So anyway, we sort of rocked up into the hamlet. They seemed uncertain about us at first, but they were friendly enough. We talked to a couple of the villagers, and they apparently overheard the conflict. They described the sounds of a bellowing roar, their words, not mine, like a dragon's fury. As well as they corroborated the rumours that they'd seen a white-winged creature circling above the mountains when night falls. We were, she sort of like looks at Tallithsyr again and says, we were a little uncomfortable about going to look at things after that, but we both agreed that it kind of needed to be done. So we spent an evening in Nyxes and headed out the next day. Crossing through the path, it was fairly obvious what had happened. It looks like as the column of troops were passing through this pass, the Chromatics seem to have set up an ambush, but not just your average ambush. They basically took out half the mountainside and caused an avalanche. The place is almost impassable now. We had to essentially scramble halfway up it just to find a clear spot to path around it. Judging by the way it was taken out, I suspect this is where all of this black powder that's been smuggled out was put to use. Honestly, even if the Metallics had attempted a fighting retreat, they were probably either killed in the initial avalanche or slaughtered as they tried to flee backwards through the rubble. There wasn't a whole lot they could have done. It was pretty grim. They clearly didn't have time to pull free a lot of the bodies. Sidani sort of pauses for a moment, and Thalithsyr sort of takes this as her cue to take over, and sort of says, "We pushed on regardless. We found a little nook somewhere up in the side of the mountains where we could overlook the fortress. The place in itself it's quite small for a fortress. It's clearly only designed to control the pass so that people don't come to and from the other side. But after maybe a couple of days of scouting it out, we noted at least 10 chromatics guarding the place at any one time. And goodness knows how many more there were inside. It was difficult to count them. They're certainly well bunkered in, that's for sure. We thought it best to keep an eye on them, so we camped out for a little while and just monitored the situation. At that point, that was when we first saw the sighting of the supposed dragon. I'm still not entirely sure on whether it is a dragon or not, but essentially a creature with a large wingspan with pale white wings could be seen sort of swooping and whirling over the place in what you could make out in the moonlight, at least. At first we thought it was swooping in to go to the fortress, but any time it got close to them, and this happened a couple of times while we were out there, as soon as anybody caught note of it, all of the lights on the walls were extinguished, and they seemed to almost lay low when it came near, almost like they were attempting to avoid its attention.
It's definitely a being of power of some sort.
That much is sure. It could very well be a dragon, but if it is, it's young and thin, I guess, the best way I could describe it, which I find surprising because it's not like wildlife was scarce or anything nearby. Like, there should be enough for a dragon to subsist off if it was hunting in the region. There's no reason it should go hungry.
I may not be an expert on dragons. However, from what I can tell, they are clever beings, and turning off the lights would probably not fool them.
Thalithsyr just sort of shrugs and sort of says, I don't know. I mean, they say adult dragons are supposed to be as smart, if not smarter, than we are, but I don't know if that goes the same for offspring.
Also,
I mean, even so, you would imagine that even at a young age, I feel like they would be able to tell the difference between something disappearing and something having the lights turned off or put out.
That's true, I guess.
and also it depends how young the dragon is.
Well, I think the thing that we are not even really talking about is, if this is a young dragon, where did it come from, and why is it young?
Hmm.
I mean, I guess it's not unheard of that new dragons happen. Because this is rare.
Well, they kind of went missing for,
Centuries.
long enough to go into legend.
I mean, that's true, but I wonder... The green dragon that we dealt with seemed to have mentioned something about being... I cannot remember... I can't remember if he said put to sleep or put under some sort of sleep, or am I just making that up in my head?
He was basically imprisoned and temporarily temporally suspended. But yeah, like he described it as asleep.
Right. If something like that happened to another dragon, it's not impossible that it may have happened to most, if not all, other ones as well.
That is a good point.
Depending
And
on who captured or who imprisoned the green dragon, it's possible that that was the case for this one as well, or something similar may have happened,
And
if it is a dragon at all.
And if they were temporally locked, I guess it wouldn't age?
I mean, it's entirely possible that 2 dragons were locked away in, well...
Yeah, that is also possible.
Tallithsyr just sort of pulls an awkward face.
Yeah, no, you don't have to finish that sentence. We can finish it in our heads. But that is also possible.
Sidani just sort of like looks at Tallithsyr, like looks at the rest of you, just goes, "Had a baby?"
Yes. Thank you, Sidani.
Don't talk to my girl like this. She's doing her
We can
best.
say the word sex. We're all adults here. I imagine Arya actually says that.
Okay, yeah.
Well, like, considering they lay eggs, they might not even be a thing. They just fertilize the egg.
Let's not get into
That's
dragon
true.
biology.
Tallithsyr is just changing color very rapidly.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, let's not get into dragon biology. because
Regardless,
that's not the only
whatever-
question we have to ask.
Whatever it is, it's at the very least doesn't seem to be working with the chromatic forces, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah. But we do also have
Not-
another question, which is, if it's not a dragon, then what is it? It's clearly big enough to inspire fear in the chromatics.
Fear may be making an assumption. Caution is
Okay, well, yeah,
the
true.
most likely.
Unless it is just a wyvern. We've encountered one of them. You guys have encountered one of them before, and
Tallithsyr
not
shakes
that
her head
strong.
and just says, "Wrong wing shape."
Was it definitely scaled? Wasn't
Sort of
feathered
like
wings.
she holds up her hands and just sort of says, "It wasn't ever close enough to work that out, but." A wyvern wingspan is short. They glide. They don't soar.
I see.
I
It
guess
didn't look feathered, but honestly, it was too far away to make sure, and we only ever saw it come out at night.
Hmm.
Definitely the wrong shape to be a wyvern, though.
If only we knew more about dragons.
What was that?
I said, if only we knew more about dragons and their habits.
Well, next time I'm at the I'm in Argentellorand, I could always check the college's library for any records.
Well,
Being
didn't-
longer living, they're more likely to
Nocturnal.
have writings on older subjects.
Yeah, but like even then, I believe we checked it. Then we check it like when the other dragon was around.
You didn't
the
check
other
Argentellorand, no.
No.
And this, well, I'm just skeptical because of the fact that like I imagine that the knowledge might have been, tainted by time. You know how inaccuracies
Yeah.
start to form, and we need very specific things in order to determine this.
Tallithsyr just sort of nods and says, "I've only ever seen one dragon, and it was dead and a different kind of dragon. All I know is it's not a wyvern."
Well, that's one thing we can cross off the list of possibilities. It's better than nothing.
If
You
only.
never saw it. You never saw it swoop any farther down, like towards the fortress.
Tallithsyr shakes her head and just says, "No, it always stayed at a distance, more like it was, I don't know, like almost keeping an eye on things. I mean, I've seen birds of prey when they hunt, and when they're looking for prey, they either stay in one place or descend downwards very quickly. It never did anything like that. It just sort of... The only way I can describe it is that it wheeled overhead. It was just scoping things out.
Patrolling almost?
I'd say
Maybe
that, but it
it's-
wasn't consistent.
Maybe it's looking for something. I don't know what in the world that could be, but
Well, like, don't have any good explanations, but like, first thing that comes to my mind is if it is indeed a youngling,
A youngling.
oh yeah, young dragon, and it has been and it is offspring from surviving dragons. Perhaps it can squeeze out of a hole somewhere, and it's keeping watch, forming the others.
it's possible.
Maybe.
Although I'm just wondering what would it be anything that like a young dragon could escape from that like what I assume would be an elder or like an ancient dragon couldn't.
Well, young dragons are smaller?
Maybe it's separated.
Maybe.
Maybe that's what it's looking for. Signs of others? I mean, this is just speculation, but...
There's not much
Dragons
else
are usually solitary, or at least when they come of age, when they are old enough to be alone. That is
No, but we don't know how old this one is, if it is a dragon. So
true.
It's nowhere near as big as the one you killed, I know that much.
I suppose if it is small enough that it shouldn't really be on its own, that would make sense why it's so skinny. It can't hunt for itself.
It's true. Are we gonna adopt a dragon, baby?
hell yeah.
Hell yeah!
it.
Let's go.
Let's do it!
Well, I can't believe you're going straight from riding direwolf to riding dragon.
Look, it's the natural progression, I feel.
I guess there were the
I feel like there
almost
should be a few
dinosaur-like
steps.
birds in between.
Yeah, I mean, you have ridden those giant flying birds. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose that is the next biggest
Yeah.
lizard thing with wings you can fly.
It's Total War Warhammer unit upgrade levels of upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go from giant wolf to dinosaur
dragon.
to
Honestly, I was thinking
Enormous
Kelariis
spider.
was badass.
spider.
Can you imagine Kelariis riding a dragon into battle?
Yeah.
God damn it! I should have taken mounted combat.
You know what
I
that
was a
means?
fool.
You know what that means?
Ah.
That really would be a proper upgrade, like Total War upgrade thing for Kelariis, because it would be horse, griffin, dragon.
Dragon, yeah.
Yep.
That's like an actual upgrade progression. You
The
get
only
for
the only
heroes.
thing missing is like the armored horse,
Ah, yes.
the barded.
I had a warhorse for a while.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
did.
Oh,
Yeah, because
perfect.
she rode a normal horse, then she had a magic summoned barded horse,
This is perfect.
then she had a griffin, then she had a dragon. It's
Well.
Warhammer Total War.
Anyway,
Perfect.
But
Someone
I
make
guess-
that mod.
I guess the good thing is you confirm that there is indeed a creature, and it's not working with the resistance, or
The
I don't know what to call them,
La Resistance.
Oh my god.
or maybe resistance is too polite.
I'm pretty sure you can just say chromatics.
Chromatic, yeah. Well, I guess chromatics works. So they're unlikely to be working with chromatics. The chromatics are using, well, they clearly have a strategist of some kind. Setting up ambushes, basically, defeating the enemy before they get a chance to do anything.
Definitely have the powder, because what else could shear rock away that easily aside from magic?
Well, magic or the powder that they mentioned.
Magic or powder.
Sidani nods and says, I'm pretty sure it was black powder. I haven't ever seen the stuff in action, but there were... I suppose the best way to describe them is like blast marks. Like they were deliberate and at measured intervals. Like it was definitely strategic.
They're definitely, I'm guessing they have some engineering capabilities as well. Then That's a
regardless,
dangerous
so-
combination.
Considering the logistics they have defending the fortress, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, this definitely seems like a military force has planned this extensively. These ain't your average run-of-the-day rebels.
I think, from what we saw of the limited time that we saw them outside of the fortress, I don't think they have that many warriors. At least not like a platoon level of warriors. They're probably dealing with a similar sort of militia size that we are, maybe a little more.
That would make sense why they use such tactics then. Subverting
Fighting
their
it
numbers disadvantage.
precisely.
Though they're not going to be using that strategy again, I guess. Not in that same place anyway.
No, but good luck moving an army through the pass the way it is now.
Yeah. And the mechanics
That
would have to clear,
pass.
and the mechanics would have to clear out the fortress to have any hope of clearing it.
But that pass, what does it lead to? Like, let's say something happens. Is there any reason we should be concerned? Like, I guess the main reason the only concern we have is, I guess we didn't identify the flying creature, but
Well, we obviously couldn't move very far from the edge of the mountain range, but judging from maps and from what we could see, the only other thing on the other side of it is a large lake, which I think it's a strategic location because it basically is the mouth of most of the rivers that feed out down the Scale Coast. If they hold it as a strategic location, then they could theoretically launch attacks downstream using the rivers to navigate. That, and that's where it starts to. That's basically along the strategic border between the Draconic Kingdoms and well, where we are now.
what I'm thinking is, like, them trying to block that pass, basically keeping watch over it. It just makes for one less route our baddies can use, because I don't think they're going to take kindly to visitors of any kind. Although I guess you were also able to sneak around.
Well, the military, I suppose, is not what we're. The military implications are not necessarily what we're interested in.
But there will always be, if either you Facera or you Kelariis think that we should interfere, well, for personal reasons, then that is also an option.
I do get the feeling that maybe if only we could leave something there that could keep an eye on whatever this is for us.
I mean, the issue is that right now we don't have the time to look into it if we want to keep on track.
That is true.
I don't like the fact that something is clearly going on, regardless of.
I mean, do we have to all stick together for this though? Like, Kelariis and I are basically doing nothing.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I don't think we can get down there and back fast enough, though.
Yeah, not without.
It would.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, it would take you. I mean, it took them a month's worth of traveling to get there and back. If you don't include even if you don't include the time that they spent down there, it'd be a good month before you guys got back, at least.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to see how our device pans out, and then we'll keep listening, and if things get worse, we can always decide to emergency interference. It might be necessary.
We can always have.
But I think we should give them some, the Dragonborn some credit. Like, I imagine they're not completely incompetent.
I mean, the thing is I don't think that we should interfere in any of the conflicts between the metallics and the chromatics. Neither side will like that, and to be honest, if any of them recognize me, I don't think they'll like it much either. I'm more concerned about the dragon or not dragon or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, we would just be hunting dragon for sport, and we happen to be in the area that's, you know.
My point is that, as much as I want to know what's happening, I think that we have more pressing things right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we just have to hope that it doesn't take a turn for the worse and we don't find out far too late.
So,
Unless, Sarah, do you have a different thought? You were down there, saw a bit more, obviously.
Tallithsyr like looks a little uncomfortable and just sort of says, "Well, I don't really know. I don't have a good gauge of whether or not it's going to become a problem for us, but I do know that the people of that village are pretty much undefended. The Platinum Throne's legions have withdrawn back to Lunalus and the surrounding fortifications. Those people are pretty much on their own now." At which point, like, Sidani sort of just chips in and sort of says, "That leads us into the complications."
What complications?
I assume that's why you got so hurt.
Sidani like nods and Tallithsyr says, "Yeah, when we returned to Nechaki to resupply and head home, we basically encountered a patrol of chromats who were trying to threaten and extort tribute out of the local populace. They were trying to get them to give them food and resources. They didn't have any way to defend themselves, so we kind of stepped in." Sidani just like holds up a hand and just says, "We were outnumbered 3-1.
It sounds like
I
you were
imagine
successful.
Kelariis is warring between good girl and that's so stupid.
I mean, I can't say that because I would do the same thing. So.
But, you know, we haven't been
Also-
outnumbered 3-1 that often.
Yeah.
I think Kelariis looks proud, even though she's trying not to
Sorry.
be super obvious,
Yeah.
because
Sorry.
some people here might have words.
Yeah.
I mean, Elizabeth goes wide eyes, goes, "That's pretty impressive."
Sidani just sort of like gestures like and just sort of says, well, you should have seen how well we were doing after the fact. I almost got my jaw knocked clean off by a dragonborn the size of a small building, and Tallithsyr was doing a great job holding her own against 3 of them until they put her through a table and then a window."
Oh god.
Well,
Well, considering the
She-
outcome of that.
Yeah, Tallithsyr turns to Sidani and says, "But we did win."
yeah, you guys
Well-
have done. I'm going to say this now, just in case nobody else does, but you two have done very, very well. I at least am in awe.
Well, you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but you did do a good job indeed. Although,
I think you did a good job stepping in, and obviously holding your own. More than that.
My
Well,
only
I've-
thought now is, if the chromats were driven off, they probably won't take the defeat too well.
probably
Th-
not.
th-
They'll
Tallithsyr-
probably be back.
Tallithsyr nods and says, the people of Nechaki were grateful for what we did, but they offered to help us, gave us these bandages. One of them tended to my arm. They asked us if we'd stay and help them, but I knew we couldn't do that, so we offered to help them build some defenses, train them. This was when we got the message from Vondal.
That's
Um,
why you were there longer.
At this point, like, Sidani pulls like almost like a slight grimace and says, "I'm still not sure that was a good idea."
What do you mean?
She, like... She pauses, like, looks at Tallithsyr, who, like, looks back at her, says, "We've rehashed this one too many times. I'd rather not discuss this now."
This has turned into a more delicate situation than I'd anticipated.
Tallithsyr just, like, sort of, like, puts her hands on the table and just says, "Look, I'm happy that we taught the people of the village to defend themselves. I'm worried that without help they're just prolonging the inevitable, but I don't know what else we can do. It's not like we can just roll in there and fight for them. Or can we?
I don't think we can in an official capacity.
But even as mercenaries, they're not going to be able to pay us.
No, but we do charity work every now and then.
And sometimes it's not about the pay, it's about doing what we can to help.
She like shakes her head and says, "Yeah, I understand that. That's not really what I mean. I mean, I've been grappling with this since we left, but..." And she, like, looks directly at you, Kelariis, when she asks this, and she says, "Can we really go to war for them?" I mean, I know it was our fight, but it's not Grim's fight, or Arya's fight, or anyone else's here, for that matter.
I mean, it's not our fight, but we're a team now.
God, if Arya did that, I'd be like, "Who are you and what have you done with Arya?"
Somebody gave her that magical bow again. She's a magical girl again.
Magical girl!
Give her a magical bow, she just turns into a magical girl. God damn. Sailor
But-
Arya.
At the
I
end
mean,
of the day, nobody else is going to defend them if they don't defend themselves or if somebody else doesn't help them. We don't have to think of it as necessarily going to war, but...
The thing is, us helping them in an official capacity, i.e. us helping them as the Amber Eagle, would definitely have negative consequences that we would not be able to deal with so easily.
Well,
But
that's...
we don't necessarily have to fly our own colours, so to say.
That said, I feel like if we're gonna do this, we should make a point of... We should just be... Well, if we're gonna do something about it, we should just go as the Amber Eagle.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would be
And-
hard to separate ourselves from that name anyway.
Because regardless of how we want to do it, it's us. We're not gonna... I feel like if we're gonna be shady about it, it's just gonna make things worse. And besides, if they're not gonna do it, and we do it, then that's on them. Well, I guess in this case they tried. But, you know...
I guess, look, what I'm trying to sort of say is we could send, like, if, say, I've forgotten his name now. Hang on.
Describe.
Yeah, if Lars and his lot went, they could just... They don't have to say they're from the Amber Eagle. They could just be adventurers who happened to pass through.
Yeah, but I don't...
Adventurers with a group that looks like that force? I don't think so.
I suppose.
But, like, I don't think, like... There's gonna be a time where we're gonna have a conflict because we want to help someone. And we can either have that, like, you know, it's just gonna be a question of when. not so much if. And if it's going to be sooner rather than later, well, then that's just how it's going to be. Although we might want to find someone who can navigate the waters a little better than some of us can.
I mean, regardless, we can't just leave them there, because
No.
the Metallic Army's not going to go back for them. At least not right now.
And the Chromatics definitely will go back for them.
And while I'm sure that both of you, and I like looking at this, Tallithsyr and Sidani, like, did a good job of teaching them what you could in the time you had. If the Chromatics that are there are at all trained in the military sense,
Whatever they've got is better than a week.
I don't know how much they're going to be able to stand up to that.
Sidani just puts her head in her hands and then, like, looks up to Tallithsyr and just sort of says, "I'm sorry, I have to say this. I think teaching them was the wrong choice." Like, Tallithsyr, like, crosses her arms and just, like, she looks a little annoyed about this, but she, like, bites her tongue. But Sidani just continues. She says, "I'm worried that by encouraging them to defend themselves rather than flee or bargain in some way, all we've done is give them a false hope to lead them into a fight that they can't win. They're going to fight back thinking they can hold their territory, and if the Chromats bring even a handful of their force, they'll wipe that village out like it's nothing. I'm worried that all we've done is encourage them to go willingly to their deaths."
I would honestly tend to agree with that.
I think what you've done is given them the ability to choose what they do. You're not forcing them to fight, you've given them an option.
But, like, you can teach a lamb how to fight, but if you put it up against the wolf, the wolf's still going to kill it. But, like, the lamb might not.
Whether or not they fought back.
Well, see, I think the problem is you can train for this kind of stuff, but, like, clearly the Chromats they are more experienced, and I doubt. Well, like, I haven't seen their equipment, but I imagine it's not going to be, how to put it, decent. It's going to be more of a pots and pans kind of fiesta, with maybe some, with some actual weapons in between. And then there is the fact that even if only a few decide to fight, usually their crackdown is on everyone, not just the one, or not just those that decide to fight. But admittedly, considering you, couldn't stay, I guess you couldn't do much else. I just hope that you, like, as long as you got the message across that it's likely to, it will likely cost their lives. If they fight, that is.
At this point, like, Sidani looks like she is like she's accepting what it is that you're saying, Grim, and she's just sort of nodding along, but she doesn't look happy that you've proved her right in any way. Tallithsyr, in the meanwhile, is sort of like digging the edges of her talons up underneath her scales in Kelariis, a way that you only know can be causing her exquisite discomfort. But you get the feeling that she is doing it to take her mind off things.
Yeah. I think I'll probably go and stand next to her and, like, put a hand on her shoulder.
I imagine
that's not. Yeah, I imagine that's not, like, an unfamiliar thing. Like, Kelariis has probably done similar things.
Yeah.
So,
either way, regardless of that individual decision, you've both come back alive, and with pretty good
Well-
with valuable information.
Okay, but I feel like there's more. I feel like we need to do something about this, or else, like, if, like, I know that, like, life is tough, but I feel like if we can do something about it, we should do something in this case, because we don't want the memory of, we don't want, the first mission to be a sad time.
I mean, I still think that it was the correct choice to give them the option to fight.
I'm
No
not
one's
well.
being forced to.
What's done is done, and I think how far have you got them as the charging?
Hmm?
Well, how long do you think you need to charge the crystal still?
Well, it's a bit more than we're just charging it right now. We're going through all sorts of tests and refinements. At least the rest of the month, maybe. As
They-
I
they
explained,
can
we got
work on
that
it.
first.
Yeah, they can work on it without you. It just won't go nearly as fast.
Well, but
She's gonna say, like, as I said, we got off that first successful test, but I did do a lot of the heavy lifting for that, so
well,
I don't know how they'd do without me necessarily.
you're the one that can control it. They're doing things that you don't need to be a part of, right?
It's not required.
She's gonna say I don't have to be there, but
It just goes faster if you are.
yeah, I don't have to be there, but it will slow down if I'm not there.
Well, I think it will just be a risk that we have to take, or we have to send, or you have to just hop them over to the nearest point. At least, like, we're gonna have to hop some people over. And when I say hop, I mean teleport.
Yeah, I got it.
Um,
The problem is, obviously, the closer you want me to take them to that fortress, the larger the margin for error. I can go to
Wait.
Castport with
Okay.
with a guaranteed success, but anywhere closer,
you brought something from the village, right? Like band-aids, food, anything.
Band-aids.
Well, it's
bandages.
not the most glamorous of things, but
I suppose that is true.
Thi-
Anything you happen to have that's taken from the village within the last 6 months.
Thalithsyr produces a shawl that is around her shoulders that was like keeping her warm while she wasn't, keeping her shoulders warm while she wasn't wearing a shirt.
would this work as a focus?
Holds that up and just sort of says, "I have this. They made this."
As long as it was in the village within 6 months, within 6 months ago, I can use it to guarantee a successful teleport to the village.
I guess then there is. I feel like that shortens our detour quite a lot. I guess there is one important question. Who of you would like to go?
I give Grim a look like.
Look, I know you're I know you might not want Fasira, and I'm not sure if it's the wisest thing for Sedani to go back right now, but
I mean, Thalithsyr
I'm not-
can make her own choice,
but,
but you know that I'm going to go at the very least, is what I meant.
oh yeah, but it's not for you that I'm asking, it's for the others, because I don't know if they want to see what happens, because if things went wrong, it's not going to be pretty. But if we make it in time, you might feel, well, it's going to feel great. But that's the decision that I cannot make for you two.
I think Sedani and Thalithsyr just look at each other for a moment, and then Sedani just gestures towards Thalithsyr and says, "It's your fight, not mine."
Sarah?
She like looks over to you, Kelariis, looks back at Grim and says, "I'll go."
So
I think
you,
I give her like a small little smile.
so I guess you get to rest up. You did good.
Do you want me
I
going
think-
with? Do you want me staying with them, Grim, or?
Oh, I thought.
I think the plan is for
If-
the four of
I
you
thought-
and Thalithsyr to go, and
Yes.
then the
I
four
thought
of you
we-
Ah, I
to.
see.
Because I think
See.
there was the four of us can end this with some expediency, or at least probably find a way to resolve this, or in a more permanent manner.
Is Sidani looking okay? I mean, probably not, but.
I
to what
mean,
extent not
she
okay?
give me an insight check, I guess.
I wouldn't say she sounds okay, but
Yeah, that's why I was like, to what extent is she not okay?
Yeah, give me an insight check. So she is quite clearly resigned to the idea that she's very clearly resigned to the idea that she's not going, and she seems okay with that. You get the feeling that there is something else on her mind, and considering the circumstances, it is probably the wider ramifications of what will happen once this is done.
Hmm. I guess then Elizabeth, after looking at Sidani for quite a bit, like turns to Grim and says, "When do you want to go?"
how is it? Well, do we have anything we need to take care of? Well, we need supplies. We're going to need, by the sounds of it, it's cold. We need clothing. We're going to need some. We're going to need some basic supplies, and then
It will be up in the mountains, I suppose.
Sidani sort of pulls herself up, and the normal business demeanor that she has comes back for a brief moment. She just looks at you, Grim, and says, "It's cold for sure, but mostly during the nights. The days are pretty tolerable. It's the altitude that's the real concern. You're pretty high up off the ground, and the winds can get chilly, but the temperatures are all right during the day. In terms of provisions, well, you're going to need food. There's reasonable scavenging while you're up there, but I wouldn't rely on it. Particularly the higher up the mountain you get, the less there is to make use of. One thing you're going to need is somewhere reasonable to rest. They don't exactly have a lot in terms of bedding up there. We ended up camping out in a shed most of the time on bedrolls, but basic bedrolls, they weren't doing us a lot of favors.
we can.
Bring something with a bit more padding. Understood.
Well, you're in your shelter, we can have a fire, and it won't reveal our position, right?
Think so. I'm not sure. I've never thought.
Yeah,
fire in there along with us.
Well, the thing with the dome is when you create the dome emits light itself, so it doesn't matter if you've got a fire in it.
It was more for heat.
Yes.
I didn't mean to roll it, but that works.
Yeah.
Well, also the
the
dome is always
always comfortable and dry
outside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the area
Well,
inside the dome
So you
is
don't
fine.
need a fire.
So we'll be fine in that regard.
Yeah, we'll be fine temperature-wise inside the dome. Inside the tiny hut.
Yeah, Sidani sort of nods and says, "Yeah, sometimes I forget you have an advantage."
Massively so, but there might come a time where you find similar companions. Maybe next time when we have
Well,
our what would you even call it? What did we call it last time? The grand tournament.
Oh.
I think you just called it that, the tournament.
yeah.
The tournament. Yeah. I guess there was no need for fancy words.
Yeah.
But hey,
It was a grim project, of course. Of course, there was need for fancy words.
Well, Sedani,
Accurate.
that's
well,
also
Sedani,
true.
maybe one day I can always, teach you the spell. You could cast it yourself.
I'm not sure that's exactly within my skill set, but we could try.
Not yet.
Well, not at all, because she's the wrong type of caster, but yes.
If she's an Eldritch Knight, she can do evocations, can't she?
I don't think Liam's Tiny Hut is on the list.
Liam's Tiny Hut is an evocation. If it just says evocations, then she's probably fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about the rules.
We'll have
Like
to check.
they're weird in many ways.
We'll have to check.
Yes. Because they can't technically learn anything as followers, but I have made exceptions.
Yeah, whatever.
Hand them a stack of Liam and Tiny Hut scrolls.
Yeah, and then and then she's like, failing that, scrolls, or I can get you one of those spell storing wings.
See, we're not made of money here. Like we're willing to invest, but like scrolls or
Okay, maybe not scrolls. You get my point though.
so before. Well, actually, if everybody's heading off, I should probably you should probably hang around for just a minute, Sedani.
She nods. Tallithsyr stands up from the table and just sort of says, "Yeah, I should go and rest up. I'm gonna need my strength."
Oh yeah.
I guess we'll leave tomorrow.
Well, we'll rest when Tallithsyr has had her rest.
Okay.
Because in this case, I think we've said this about a lot of things, but time matters. Did the raid show up in the evening or in the afternoon, or morning?
Sedani thinks for a moment and says, "Well, by the time we got back, it would have been mid-afternoon. I don't know how long they'd been there. They'd certainly just started to ransack places."
So somewhere between morning and noon, I believe.
Though, if I was them and I wanted to make sure of my success next time, I'd probably do it under cover of night. Especially if they think the place is defended now.
But like during the night, they might still be scared of whatever that thing is that flies.
That's a good point.
True.
But that is a risk we're gonna have to take. But yes, you all head off and prepare.
Yeah, I will send a message to I guess Professor Oaken. I've forgotten his name.
Yes.
Yeah.
For Oakenlock.
Oakenlock. Presumably to Professor Oakenlock and say, we've had something come up. I might not be back for the foreseeable future. We'll get back as soon as I can.
He responds back, asking if you would like them to continue with the work while you're gone.
Yeah. I guess yeah. I don't have anything else to do for the rest of the day, so send another message back saying yes, please.
Okay. He says he will keep doing to the best of his ability. Okay, so the rest of you depart. I will say for Kelariis' benefit, Tallithsyr will heal faster if you invest healing into her.
I will do that. Then.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. Well, I was going to say a few words to Sedani before she left.
Yes.
That's
Oh
why
well,
I was
that's what we're cutting to in a second. I was just
okay.
dismissing everybody else first.
Yeah, I was gonna follow after Tallithsyr anyway, so that works. Healing.
Yes. So everyone else departs, save Grim and Sedani. As the last people leave and the sounds can be heard receding away down the stairs, Sidani looks at you, Grim, and says, "I'm worried that we've been gone 2 weeks and something's already going to have happened."
I would have to say 2 weeks is indeed a long time, and the odds aren't looking good. But on the other hand, I have been maybe a bit pessimistic. But I just wanted to say, even though not all decisions may pan out, I don't think there was a good choice out there. There was no good answer.
She looks down, slowly nods, looks back at you, and just sort of says, "Yeah, maybe I'm being a bit pessimistic too. I tried to tell them that fighting back against them wasn't a good idea, but how do you tell farmers with nothing to lose, and how do you tell farmers that can't afford to lose everything they've built to work for, that they have to just up and leave?" They wouldn't listen. I don't think Tallithsyr did the wrong thing by agreeing to help them, and at the end of the day, I think it... Who knows, maybe they'll stave off a handful of them.
Well, there's always the off chance that it actually works. And if they see the fortifications, they may have, when they show up next time, they may think twice when they realize that there's actually, the enemy's actually prepared this time.
That's the hope. We couldn't exactly achieve much. A couple of pits with stakes in, a rudimentary barricade.
Trust me, if one of your comrades falls in a spike pit, you're going to think twice about stepping, where you go next. So let's hope that that's enough to scare them off.
She smiles a little and says, "Defensive strategies weren't exactly on my educational curriculum, but I picked up a trick or two."
Ah, yes, improv, the way of the strategist. No, well, almost.
I seem to remember one of my greatest teachers telling me to, when all else fails, make it up as you go along.
Well, that is, that I may know someone who has said that.
She smiles at that.
Yes. Well, regardless of what happened or has happened so far, we're going to make sure it's at least it won't happen again for the foreseeable future. And well, I guess whilst we're gone, if you have any clue where we can find the diplomats of the Dragonborn variety, that would be excellent.
She chuckles to herself and says, "Well, Cal's not bad with his words. If you can whip a little formality into him."
Might be the best we've got. Ah, well, yes, if you'd be willing to think about it, or put some effort, or actually, I'll ask Fundal as well, and then
I'm sure we can work out something.
He might be more experienced in these matters, and he might actually be able to whip Cal into presentable shape.
She nods.
Yes. Well. I will. I'll leave you. Well, I say I'll leave you to it. It's more me having to rush off. You said they didn't. Food was scarce there, wasn't it?
It's not too bad, at least at the level of the village. I mean, growing a handful of crops, farming animals. It's once you get into the mountains itself, just there's a stretch of a couple of miles where there's basically nothing, and if you're camped out in that, you're either going to be heading back down the hill to scavenge, or you're heading into enemy territory to do it. Neither of those are really preferable options.
Oh, I was thinking if we show up, might as well bring some aid along in a more practical form, because money is always, the gold is always nice, but you can't buy food that isn't there, or clothing for that matter. But, yeah.
Like,
but if they're doing well on that stuff, then I won't bother.
she sort of nods. They've got enough to keep themselves going, and I'd say just bring enough for yourselves.
Well, will do. Well, you stay strong, and I will. Well, I'll probably see you before we leave.
As you stand up to leave and get about as far as the door before she speaks again, and just sort of says, so I guess this is how we make a name for the Amber Eagle. Gonna
We go to war.
give the Empire a bloody nose.
Well, that's one way of putting it, but if they don't appreciate it, they can they'll just have to yell at us afterwards.
Giving the biggest bully in the playground a bloody nose. I know a couple of people who've adopted that tactic before. I hope it works.
Yeah, so do I. I guess I'll leave.
Okay. Cool. And with that, you set about preparations.
Well, Elizabeth would maybe like to awkwardly hover and try to grab Sidati as well, because she's awkward.
Okay.
And feels bad.
Yeah, so you catch her as she walks out of the building. She's sort of lost in her own thoughts as she starts across the courtyard, and you stop her, and she just looks up and says, "Oh, Elizabeth."
Okay, so I'm sorry if this seems very weird, but did you want to go for a walk or drinks or something? You look not okay and maybe need to relax.
She considers you for a moment, and then just sort of smiles and says, "Thank you, Elizabeth. The fact that you consider that is very kind. And you'll have to take my word for it, I am fine. Or at least I will be once I get my head in order."
Just need a bit of alone time.
I think I just need some time to get outside of my own head. I've always been a thinker. I'm sure you can relate, but sometimes I get stuck in a loop.
Well, if you ever want someone to just talk at, you can always ask me, or there's always the technique I tend to use to get myself out of brainhead loops, which is just, well, I suppose that's, finding something to talk at. It doesn't obviously have to be me. I usually talk to Scarlet, and that usually, trust me, just say it out loud to something. That's usually what I do when in a bit of a thought loop.
She nods and smiles again and just says, "Thank you."
I'll let you go again. I don't mean to be a bother. And I guess
maybe
she just
when
sort of,
you
steps to one side.
yeah, you sort of like step aside, and she like like goes to take a step forward, and then turns back and says, "Maybe when you get back, we'll have that drink."
Oh, sure.
Damn, I can't believe.
I'm allowed to be worried.
I just like how you were not prepared for the drink.
I wasn't. I genuinely wasn't prepared for it to actually bring that up again. But there you go.
No, she leaves.
I've just got the mental image of like Sadani disappearing through another door, and then just Elizabeth just goes, yes. Tiny fist bump.
Okay. Yeah, I guess with that, you all spend the evening making preparations and getting ready. And I think that's a good place for us to end our session.
Cool.
Certainly been some developments, both scientifically and in terms of the wider world.
Can't believe we're gonna
And
go
diplomatically.
pick a fight with the Empire and tame a dragon.
Okay,
Honest-
look, this is the same thing as last time. I've seen it happen. I
Okay.
can't just not.
Yeah. Okay. A couple of things. One, we were always going to intervene. Two, it's only
True.
half of the Empire. Three, I don't
Also-
think we're going to tame
Well,
a dragon.
You
The
you gotta
It's
pick
not
up.
technically the Empire, is it?
No, it isn't. It is the
Yeah.
the rebellious. Well, it is one half of the civil war, basically.
Yeah. That's why I said half the Empire, basically.
The reason Sadani refers to it as giving the Empire a bloody nose is because if you go and deal with a problem that the Legion did not deal with, and news gets out about that, the Legion are going to be pretty pissed.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
we just
Because
go
they-
quick in and out.
Fuck
and
the Legion because they're just gonna leave the village, and we can't let that happen.
True.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
We're
is
going to make the
true.
Legion look bad because we're going to protect their people.
Well, then they should do their own fucking jobs and protect their people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
yes, we
feelings
should.
about this.
Yes.
Hey.
You-
Hey. Jayla. I'm not saying that I also experiencing those feelings.
Nobody is saying that you are wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not
It is
disagreeing
just a
with you.
statement of
I'm just-
fact.
I'm just enforcing my opinions as Kelariis because
Yes.
she has strong feelings about this.
Understandable.
you know, and at this point, like, you know, there was a village in distress, and we dealt with the problem. You know, they asked for help, and we
Yeah,
helped.
what
Help
did you
they
say
shall
no?
get. Help they shall get in terms of 4 near godlike people.
I-
God,
Hello,
Near
villagers.
godlike is a bit of a
Okay, well,
stretch.
That's a bit
not,
much.
not near godlike, but,
But
like
the chromatic forces are gonna show up, and they're just gonna be like, "Who the fuck are these people?"
they're gonna be like, who are these clowns? And then I'm just gonna chain lightning through like 8 of them, and they're gonna go, oh shit, run.
Well, at least we learned some things that might be, you know, beneficial to us.
Yeah.
Mainly the fact that they're short-staffed, or well, maybe not short-staffed, but not,
They're
not
not
heavy.
warriors.
at the very least.
Yeah, and it's not a full
Oh.
force.
Short on
Yeah.
soldiers.
Yes.
Also, again, we're definitely gonna tame this dragon,
Ah.
or at least
Are we gonna skip over the fact that we're gonna make our son a diplomat now?
I know.
I'm so proud of him.
Well, we're not gonna make him a diplomat. Vondal's gonna make him a diplomat on
Well,
screen.
whatever.
If
Yes.
anybody
Same
can
difference.
make anybody a diplomat, it's Vondal.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yep.
absolutely believe in Vondal in that sense.
Also, I think Cal's a perfect candidate. He's charismatic. He's friendly.
He's
Well-
a sweetheart. We love
He's a
him.
sweet child.
We
Sometimes
even have
you
an
don't want
actual
to be
diplomat he can learn from. Rask.
True.
Oh my
Right.
god. Well,
I don't think
Ra-
Rask is a
Ra-
diplomat,
Rask
he's
just
a descendant
Rask
of
just sits
Raster.
down with Cal and is like, "Here's what you do, my boy. You sit up in their kitchen."
You get a nice big fire.
And you sleep.
and yes, sleep.
Admittedly,
I don't think, to be
te-
fair, he's not a diplomat, he's just
technically,
a
Rusk is
diplomat.
isn't like he's not a diplomat. He's an emissary.
Which is
Yeah.
different. Notably different in this case.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's an
Yes.
ambassador because he's just someone who's been sent to keep relations open. He's not actually
Yeah,
a diplomat
Does
himself.
he ever do anything? Like,
He cooks. He helps cook sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, and I often
Besides Cookie, like for his job.
He chills and lets us know we're okay.
we just feed him and that's it.
Yeah.
Honestly, he can stay.
You know
I
what?
mean,
He's
that's
like,
fine. Like, I'm
know
fine
what?
with him being there.
You know what?
Honestly,
he's like a cat. We feed him, and he treats us with a fair amount of contempt.
honestly,
No,
I feel like
think Rask treats us with contempt.
Yeah.
Sorry, Minnie, you were saying?
I was gonna say I feel like he's more like a dog in that sense. But yeah.
Yeah, like we feed him and he sticks around. Like, yeah, actually, he is more
Yeah.
like a dog. You're right.
We just have a giant lizard dog person.
Wow. He is a sentient human being. I just want to establish this.
He's not.
But
He
he's
is
just-
not a human being.
also,
He's a
gone back to
sentient
his-
lizard man being.
He's gone back to like his people before and then come back and been like, yo, we still chill or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
We-
he does stuff.
We've even helped. They offered to help, but there's nothing to help with.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, I mean, that's
he is there to foster relations because you remember the last time you encountered the lizard men is basically there was a confrontation over tribal territory between the elves, and the whole point of Rask being there is to learn and engage with your customs, learn things about you, and then take the information back.
Mhm.
That is what he is there for.
So that they can better deal with the elves.
He comes back. So what you need to do is you need to saute the onions.
What? And all the lizard folk are just gonna go. What do you mean satay?
Just grabs a big sheet of metal. Can't believe.
No, he's
But
gonna.
yes.
He basically just goes home and goes, "I've unlocked the secret. Just say you're there as an emissary and fall asleep in their kitchen. They just leave you alone. It's great."
But yes, he is there to learn things about your various kind so that the lizard men can better integrate with their neighbors. That is the point of his existence. And should you ever need to call on the lizard folk, he has said that he is willing to negotiate on your behalf. However, you have never done that.
No, the problem is, due
think
to
we
the way
forget
that
that
we
that's an
interacted
agreement.
with them, I feel like, I feel like it's like us going out into the Amazon jungle, finding a tribe and be like, "Could you help us?" And then be like, "Yes," and then they get destroyed. Although in this case, I feel like they're a little more competent, but it's like,
I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't mess with those tribes in the Amazon.
Yeah. But yes. It's also the matter of fact that they are like tribes in the Amazon, except they have the same tier of weapon technology as you do.
roughly.
Yeah, I couldn't
They
not
have
like
metal
Elizabeth's gonna show
weapons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but,
not
like-
it's not. Also, it's not like Elizabeth's gonna show up there with a P90 and just be like, "Sup, guys."
Yeah, but it's more a case of they have metal weapons, but the intricacies of armor and bows and all that stuff.
No, they
Yeah,
have
all
all
the-
of that.
But they had blowpipes and stuff,
Yes.
and crude bows and stuff.
They
Yeah,
have ranged
I
and
mean,
melee
but
weapons.
but I think that has more to do with
And also,
the
lizards-
materials that they readily have access to versus their ability to do. Because obviously, if they made
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
bows from these materials, they have a pretty good understanding of how those things work.
Yes.
Also-
Oh yeah, but
Also, they have
but
natural armor.
They are
Lizard folk.
also traditionalist in that they make things in specific ways.
Mhm.
It is not
And
that
it
they
works.
cannot mass produce arms like you guys do. It is that they have a ritualistic progression of a hunter must make a bow and then hunt an animal with it, and then they are gifted the knowledge of the next thing.
Mhm.
yeah, but that just makes everything so much slower, and just their
Yes.
lack of access to materials is also they may be clever enough,
Yeah.
but if they don't have it, then it's
Yes.
still inferior.
Well,
Yeah.
to be fair,
But they also did come in riding giant snakes and slinging fireballs, which is what you
Yeah.
guys are also capable of doing.
but also I'd like to it may be slower if they start at the same age as us.
Which they do
But
not.
if they start much younger. Like you must hunt this thing with a bow, and you unlock the next thing. By the way, you're 6. Have fun.
Yes.
You know,
Well, they
I don't think 6-year-old Grim could go hunting on his own.
they also reach maturity within a matter of months compared to a matter of years.
Exactly.
They are lizards.
Exactly. So they may be like younger than you, but they probably had just as much years to prepare. Which means one as old as you has had way more time.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We digress.
We do.
Yes. So I guess all that remains is to say thank you for playing, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.